Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ask the Right Questions. I am your host, Brandon Chisholm, and I want to start the show off by giving a huge thank you to everyone who liked the first video, who shared it with their friends list, who gave me a lot of support in the comment section. Everybody who viewed it, who took time to view it. I want to just thank you all for really just taking the time to listen to the video and just hear what I had to say. So I think it can help a lot of people. So the second episode, we are going to dive into a really good question. And first off, I'm shooting the video from my personal place. So you're getting a glimpse into my personal home space. And I wanted to actually shoot this video in Rome, Italy.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
This is a holiday weekend. I was really looking forward to going to Rome, Italy to shoot this video in Assisi, Italy. It's like 2 hours outside of Rome. I've been really on this kick about meditating lately. And I looked up online where are some good places to meditate across the world, not just in the US. Typed in the Google search. Google gave me some results back. And I was just scrolling through the different results. And there was a scene in Assisi, Italy, where it just showed the landscape. It was just all green and, sunny. And it had, like, the picture itself was a picture of, maybe like a chair and like a coffee table with like some flowers in the background and things like that. And I just thought, man, it looks like a very peaceful place. So, tried to book a flight there and just couldn't get the logistics right. So I'll save that one for another time. So be on the lookout for a video from Assisi, Italy, coming to a new episode near you. So the first video was shot in the park. I had a wonderful time shooting the video. I love being out in nature. And I consider myself a jack of all trades when it comes to where I can hang out and things like that. I have no problem hanging out in my personal space. Have no problem hanging out in a park. Have no problem hanging out in another country. I'm just, I enjoy traveling. It's one of the things that I'm learning about myself. So the reason for the podcast, Ask the Right Questions, is because, I've always asked myself questions that tend to dig deeper into who I am as a person and things like that. And I've had conversations with friends and family asking them the same questions. And they've all been like, wow, these are some very interesting questions. I never thought about it in this way. You ask some really good questions. So again, that's why I created the channel, to really just, give people insights in some of the questions that I asked myself that have brought me to a revelation in different areas of my life. So before we get into today's video, we'll get right to it. Before we get into today's video, I want to show you a clip. It's about 42 seconds long, and it's from the movie Untouchables. Now, this movie, one of my favorite movies, it's like an old gangster movie. Two of the key actors, Kevin Costner, Sean Connery. Sean Connery is one of my favorite actors. And in this scene, Sean Connery and Kevin Costner are having a conversation at church. Kevin Costner is a detective in New York, or not New York, in Chicago. And he's trying to take down Al Capone. So he goes to Sean Connery, because I believe Sean Connery at some point also tried to do the same thing. And so he wanted to ask Sean Connery this question, like, hey man, how do I really take down Al Capone? And the dialogue is amazing. So there's some questions that come up, and the question that comes up in the video is what I'm going to use for today's, topic, for the right question for today. So watch the video, pay attention to what they talk about, and when you come back, we'll dive into it and chop it up.
You said you wanted to know how to get Capone. Do you really want to get him? You see what I'm saying? What are you prepared to do?
Everything within the law.
And then what are you prepared to do? If you open the ball on these people, Mr. Nash, you must be prepared to go all the way. Because they won't give up the fight until one of you is dead.
I want to get Capone. I don't know how to get him.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
All right. So you watched the video. Did everybody pick up on, what the right question for today is? Did everybody come up, with that question? I'll give you a few seconds. Let you ponder it, what you saw in the video. So today's topic, or I should say, the right question for today is simply, what are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do in life to attain the reality that sits in your mind's eye view? What are you prepared to do to get to that point? And once you hit a roadblock, or once you get to a certain, plateau, because you will plateau, what are you prepared to do next? As Sean Connery said in the clip, he asked Kevin Costner's character, what are you prepared to do? And Kevin Costner responded, whatever I need to do within the law. And Sean Connery's character said, and then what? And that's, the questions can kind of go together. So what are you prepared to do? And then what? Because when we get to that point in whatever venture we're going down, whatever journey we're going down, to whatever goal we have, we'll get to a point where we have to push past our level of comfort. And that's where that and then what part comes in. So, as I stated, what are you prepared to do? Think about that. What are you prepared to do to achieve the life that you want? And then what are you prepared to do after that? Or when you come up against a roadblock? Because there are always roadblocks. And it's my belief that many times people are afraid of change. Because when you get to a point where you have to push yourself past your comfort zone, you have to change. Yes, you have to change. That was one of the things that earlier on in my life, I just decided, you know what? There's these sayings. You can't teach your old dog new tricks. People are who they are. There's another one. I can't remember what it was. But you get the gist. So earlier on, years ago, I just thought to myself, well, why can't I change? Not change for the worse, but change for the better. Because that's a part of growth. Growth is a part of change. So, a lot of people are afraid of that. And, you know, in anything in life, to get to a new level in life, you have to change who you are. Period. I don't care who you are, what you think. You have to change. So, what are you prepared to do to change? And most people aren't prepared to change. You know, they get to that certain point and they're like, you know, naturally, you know, their ego kicks in, their subconsciousness plays a loop where they get to a certain point and certain habits come out in their physical being. So, I'll give you a story. And shout out to D'Anthony Moore, because I'm about to go into a story back in my bodybuilding days. So those who know me know I used to bodybuild years ago. Was in 3 shows, did really good in the first show, and the other 2 shows I did good as well. So first show I had first place, second show I had third place, third show I had fourth place. So D'Anthony Moore was my coach, and what started that journey was I went to him initially to just ask him to write up a meal plan for me so I could lose some weight. And went to the studio, got to talking to him, and he's just like, hey man, look, I think you'd be really good for bodybuilding. I said, okay, well, thought about it for a few seconds. I thought, all right, well, let's do it. You know, didn't really take much convincing for me to do it. There are times when I just do things because, you know, maybe I have it in my mind that, hey, look, this is something that I've always wanted to do. Just do it. So, start off with that. So I was prepared to, you know, go through the program, thinking in my mind, okay, I'm going to go through these workouts. I'm going to do what I got to do and to get on stage at my best. So this was the fall of like 2012 or something like that. Or the winter of 2012. So around December of that year, what happened? Let me think. December of that year, basically, I was at my apartment at the time. I was washing some dishes, and I was aggressively washing a cup. It was a glass cup, and had a sponge, working the cup, and the cup broke. And when it broke, a piece of the cup cut me between my index finger and my middle finger to the point where it cut down to the flesh, and I had to go to the hospital to get stitches. Now, mind you, this happened, I believe, on New Year's Eve, and I was set to start my training for my bodybuilding like the first or second week in January. So I'm thinking to myself, man, what am I going to do here? I got my hand cut. I'm not going to be able to train for a while because I got these stitches in my hand. I'm like, dang, what am I going to do? And then what? That's my and then what moment. So I just decided, you know what? Yeah, I can't use my right hand, and I'm right hand dominant. But you know what? I got my left hand, and I can do things. I can do whatever I can do, without using my left hand. Oh man, I'm sorry, my right hand. So I'm just gonna do that. So went to the studio, talked to D. I was like, look, man. Well, he saw it, of course. He's like, man. I'm like, dude, look, whatever we got to do for my workouts to adjust things, to not use or not have to use my right hand, let's do it. So, for me, I was prepared to go past a point of comfort. Because most people probably would have been like, you know what? I'm just going to sit out for a few weeks and, let my hand heal. And I can start off with both hands. I can start fresh. My thing has always been when I get my mind set on something, I want to see it through. No matter what happens, I'm going to push myself to see that thing through in most cases. And I've just come to the realization that throughout my life, I've had to do that to get to the position in life that I am now. So that's a little backstory of my moment where I had what am I prepared to do, and I had my and then what moment. So what's that for you? What goals have you set out to achieve? Whether it's a goal to lose 20 pounds, whether it's a new career path, whatever it is for you. What are you prepared to do to achieve that goal? And when you hit a roadblock, because indeed you will, and then what are you prepared to do? In that dialogue between Kevin Costner and Sean Connery, Sean Connery gave Kevin Costner different situations. He's like, hey, when Capone comes at you with a knife, you come at him with a gun. When, he sends one of your fellow officers to the hospital, you send one of his fellow comrades to the morgue. That's how you get Capone. And that's how you approach life. You want to approach life and the things that you want in life. You want to approach it with the mindset that, hey, look, whatever happens, I will get to the end and actualize what it is I'm set out to do. And I think that's that mindset that you have to have in life, just regardless. And that mindset requires you to change because you have to pick up new skills that you didn't have before that'll make you uncomfortable. And you just have to be willing to be in a state of uncomfortableness. I don't even know if that's a word. But, you know, me and a good friend of mine, we always talk about this. You know, continuing to be or being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So, because that's a life of growth. You know, the older we get, the more mature we become, the more experiences we have, we just realize certain things in life. And like I said, you have to change. So, let's have a recap. You know, the right question for today is, what are you prepared to do to achieve the goals that you want? To create the reality that you want to create in your life? And my call to action to anyone who watches this video is to ask yourself, write down, you know, those goals that you have, or look back over those goals that you've written down, the ones you haven't realized yet. Really sit and ask yourself, what am I really prepared to do to achieve this goal? And be honest with yourself. There's nobody else around. It's just you versus you. So ask yourself, what am I really prepared to do? And have those honest conversations with yourself and go through scenarios. You know, hey, I came across, you know, I was trying to do this thing and I came up against this resistance. Why did I stop? Like, why did I really stop? Was it that I just didn't have a desire to do it anymore? Maybe I didn't fully understand what was all involved in trying to achieve this. But just really sit and ask yourself the hard questions. And then what? You know, oh, I'm willing to go this far, and then what? And I believe you'll really start to find the answers that you need to help you push past that plateau. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, if you believe that you hit a roadblock, look outside of yourself, you know, to others, to other professionals in that line of work. Ask for help. Hey, look, I'm really having a hard time with really getting to this position. I need your help. What can you help me, you know, get past that point? That's why coaches are important. Like I said before, my old coach, D'Anthony Moore, you know, he himself is a bulldog when it comes to pushing people. He pushes people to the point where I've seen him get in arguments with people. But that's what you have to do. You have to push yourself, and you have to allow people to push you past your comfort zone. Because you'd be surprised at what you can achieve. You'd be surprised at what you can achieve and what your limits are. You know, the limits are only created in the mind. And it's those conversations that we have with ourselves that limit us. It's those old beliefs. You know, you really have to examine those beliefs and adjust and change. So that's it. That's all I have for you today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching this video. Again, like, share the video. YouTube channel coming. I did create the channel. I want to get some pictures and things for it. So that should be up by next week. Like I said, YouTube channel is Ask the Right Questions. And I will post it on my social media page. That way people can have access to the YouTube channel to go back and watch the videos on YouTube. So, it's a holiday weekend. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is blessed. And, you know, I hope you all have a good work week. I know most people are off today. Today's Labor Day. So, most people are off. And, you know, that's all I got. I don't want to belabor it any longer. So, everybody take care.